Channel etiquette. What to do to make sure you're welcome on my channel. Welcome kobolds. Why this video? Well, a lot of years ago, it happened on one of my channels that I felt like I was being kicked out by my community. And as a matter of fact, I stopped making videos because I didn't feel at ease posting on my own channel. Since that's not something that should happen, and it's obviously something that my old community did wrong to me and not vice versa, I decided that it's about time that I create a network of rules to make sure that that won't happen ever again. These rules will not be applied flexibly. I will be very strict. And please remember that I have no flexibility in this sense. So let's get started. It's going to be long, but if you listen through and you are someone with a little bit of respect for people, you will realize that it's not asking too much of people. What is not considered okay on my channel? Demanding that I lower the level of my videos. What do I mean? Asking me to make shorter videos in the modern world doesn't make much sense. If you're not interested, just skip it. If you're interested, you will find your time to watch it in multiple sessions. Asking me to be less factual doesn't make much sense. So that's who I am and that's how I talk. If you don't like it, you're free to go wherever you want. Asking me to make my videos more simple, that's not respectful of me because my way of being is this. And I believe that if you don't enjoy my way of making videos, you should probably not be here. Attempting to put me back in my place. This is something neurotypical people tend to do a lot. And I don't really accept this. One example, people used to go on Stephen Hawking's channel to make him aware that having an IQ of 160 didn't give him the right to believe he was intelligent. I don't think this requires any explanation of any sort. It's self-explanatory that it's really out of place to behave like that. But what I'm meaning here specifically is that when people talk like me and are very explicit about their beliefs or actually the researches they make, a lot of people believe that I should not say some things because it's not nice to people watching. If you have that kind of problem with what I say, you should probably not be here again. And no, I'm not going to be put back in my place or anything of that kind. Diminishing my intelligence. Now, taking for granted that I didn't look deep enough into things or that I do not know something is actually not realizing who you're dealing with. If you think you've looked into it, it's very likely that you didn't make half of the job that I made to look into it. Most of the time, if I'm not talking about a specific topic or I'm not mentioning one side of the matter, it's for specific reasons that I deliberately decided. So writing comments that hint to me not knowing what I'm talking about is not going to be considered the way to approach me. And that kind of comment, like any other comment in this list, is going to be banned with no regret. Explaining to me any topic without me asking. If I did not ask you to explain me something, why the hell are you going into it and explaining it to me? I am intelligent enough to dig into things if I want to. If you're here to listen what I have to say, to support me, to follow my path or whatever else of whatever kind of a reason you may have to stay here, you have no reason to explain anything to me because you will realize I don't need to be explained things. And here I'm not talking specifically mansplaining, because many women do that to me a lot. And no, I'm not going to thank you for that. Treating social media like a meeting app or something worse. Comments like, I would like to get to know you, or you have no idea what I would do to you. Well, you know exactly what I will do to you because you're going to be banned in 0 time. I'm not here to make dates or whatever the hell you may be going through your mind. This is not a meeting app. I'm here to talk about interesting stuff, to meet people who are interested in these topics that I talk about in my comment section, and that's where it's going to stay, publicly. And I'm here to talk about my books, in case you're interested, but we'll go into it later. So, this is not a dating app. Moving on. Demanding that I behave a certain way. Like, demanding that I give emotional answers. The only emotional answer that is going to come from me is something extremely heartfelt, deep, and authentic. Sorry, not so sorry. If you expect me to give you the mirroring emotional answers that people normally give, that's not going to happen. I'm not able to, and I have a deep, strong rejection for that kind of thing. Sorry, not so sorry. Small talk, not for me. Sorry, but I will lead the topic on something that I consider useful. I'm not going to be able to talk about the weather or stuff like that. The conversation is going to drift on serious topics. Again, sorry, not so sorry. Request videos. Now, this needs an explanation. Yes, if you ask me a question and I consider it intelligent, I will answer. I like answering and I enjoy answering my community's questions. And my old followers know that very well. But if you are going to write something, make a video about this topic or talk about this, that's not gonna happen. I'm not a jukebox. I'm not the kind of thing where you put your coin and you get whatever you want. Vending machine, no, that's not what I am. I'm a person and I like being treated like a person. If you have a question, ask. If I feel like answering with a comment, I will. If I feel like answering with a video, I will. I do not like people who say they are my big follower and my big fan or something on that line and then skip my writing videos. Sorry. That's a preference. It's not going to cost you a ban, obviously, but I'm going to not be as positively inclined towards you as I will be towards other people that behave the following way. Being on my channel does not mean you have to buy my books. I'm not here only for that reason. I'm here because I like sharing, I need sharing, and I enjoy being in touch with people who understand my way of sharing. So it's not necessary that you buy my books. But since I am a writer, and you know that I am a writer, it's going to be highly appreciated if you help me push my writing videos. If you are here to support me because you enjoy my content, it's not going to cost you a lot to stay a few minutes on a writing video, writing me something like, go girl, you rule, or you go for it, or whatever the hell may come to mind, and support me in that kind of video. That's all I'm asking. It's not like it's gonna cost you a kidney or anything. Thinking you have extra rights or privilege. And here I'm not talking generically about what happens on social media and people being privileged in any way. That's not the topic here. What I'm talking about is I would ban my best friend if she went against my rules on my channels. Is that clear enough? I don't stand people who come to my comment section, start acting like a moderator or whatever, and start making me favors, like they put it, and then request something back, like extra privileges or being considered a super follower, whatever. So don't go out of your way to do things for me unless I ask for it. Insulting or disrespecting my novels. You don't like it? Cool. Go your own separate way. Do not read my novels. I'm not forcing you to do anything. Actually, I don't want people to read my novels if they don't like my novels. So if you wouldn't write that to someone you love deeply, you probably shouldn't write it to me either. Insulting my choice to be a writer and an artist. Would you say that to Stephen King? If you are a normal person, you probably wouldn't say specific things to Stephen King. And if you wouldn't write it to Stephen King, don't write it to me. If you would write it to Stephen King and it's not respectful, you should probably introspect a little bit. Correcting what I say about my special interests. When I have a special interest about something, you can't believe me, you cannot possibly go in depth as much as I do. When I start digging into a topic, I look into it from so many angles that most people would give up at the first three. So correcting me about something that I say is not something I'm going to appreciate in any possible way. Claiming titles to be able to shut me up, but that's gonna be banned 0 time. I won't even end reading the comment. This channel is not informational. I'm not sitting here to lecture you about stuff. This is me sharing what I know about things. So this is entertainment and not information. I'm not an academic teaching you stuff. So take the channel for what it is and do not accuse me of claiming any title I'm not claiming. Also, every piece of information I share is double checked, so it's extremely unlikely and almost impossible that I will share something that isn't true or scientifically tested and proven. If I don't understand what a comment wants to do or is meant for, it's going to be deleted immediately and not read to the end. I'm talking about stuff like, I've read there's something teens or younger people say, like 6, 7 or whatever the hell that is. All that kind of stuff there in that category, not specifically that one. I don't know what that is and I don't want to know. That's something I don't want to have to do with. It's a problem I've been having since my teenage years, when there's something that the group, the mob, the whatever you want to call it, is sharing that is making them giggle or whatever. I don't want to have anything to do with that. So if I see something that looks weird in any way, it's gone. And ambiguous sentences like diva or whatever else. I don't care if it sounds nice. People often say nice things to be rude. So no, I'm not gonna deal with that. Delete it. It happens multiple times. Goodbye. You're banned. I don't need explanations, so don't write in my comment section, "No, I only wrote 6, 7 and this means blah, blah, blah." I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't care. If you write something and you realize your comment was deleted for some reason, or you think your comment was deleted, and you want to apologize, an apology is always accepted. Like, "Hey, Kat, I realized that I wrote that. I didn't mean to be ambiguous or to write something in your comment section that you couldn't understand. My intent was to compliment you, to say something nice or whatever else." That's an explanation I can accept. Conclusive thought. Civil people will not need to remember all the rules I listed because they will behave that way instinctively. and they won't go against my rules. Like I said, my best friend, my crush, or the love of my life, however you want to call him, never went against these rules and never needed these rules. So it means it's possible to live and experience the internet and real life without treating people like shit. This is the way to have a nice time with me without ever having real problems or clashing with me. I know some things are not easy because asking neurotypical people not to expect emotional answers or emotional mirroring is not easy. But if it's true that I spent 46 years of my life attempting to make you understand what I meant, you can make an effort and understand who I am. This is all for today, and I will see you soon, and I hope many of you will stay.